So where did they ultimately take him?
So I dropped my son's girlfriend off there by my son, and my sister and I went home. I shut the house up, grabbed a jacket, and called the hospital in Marinette to ask if my husband was there, and they said they couldn't tell me. And I said, you know, could be life or death situation. I knew it wasn't good when they had to call the helicopter. They called it, canceled it, and called it again is what happened. So she never did give me an answer, and I called up St. Vincent, or I said to her, I said, well, can you tell me if there's a, you know, a med flight going to Green Bay at that time? And she said, yes, it is. And then I said, could you tell me if it's my husband? And I gave his name, and she just said, I can't tell you. So I headed to Green Bay. I just wanted to go to the right place. My sister came with me. I drove down there. It was a quiet trip. And I got in there and said, you know, I was the wife of my husband who was in there somewhere. And one of the doctors came running and threw me in this room and wanted to know what type of medication he was on. And I told them. And then they took me to the 4th floor, the surgery floor, and Dr. Weinshell came out, which I do know him from previous injuries on myself, but told me what had happened, and it wasn't good.
All right. So you figured out that he was on his way to St. Vincent's.
Right.
Your sister came with you?
Yes.
Was she driving?
I was driving.
Can you put yourself back in behind the wheel of the car that day and pause for a minute and think about it and tell me what's going through your mind as you drive?
I just can't believe it. I think I was actually in shock. You know, I didn't have any tears or anything. I was just quiet, and she was quiet next to me because I think she knew that I just needed to think. I really don't know what I was thinking, to be honest with you. And when I got to the hospital and talked to the doctor, and you know, he pretty much told me this isn't good until my husband go. And I have reports that state that. And I said to the surgeon, you know, I sat there like this, and he was talking to me, you know, 3-4 feet away, and I said, I am listening to you, I understand you, but you know, he needs a chance, and I would like you to do the best you can do. That's all I ask.
So they'd actually told you that you ought to think about organ donating?
Just think about just leaving him be the way he is. They told me he was either going to die from the injury or he was going to bleed to death because he was on Plavix. And the doctor was irritated and angry and very harsh because it put him in a bad situation because he didn't figure that he was going to make it, and you know. So they did the surgery.
What was the relevance of the Plavix?
A blood thinner, that he was going to bleed to death from that.
And he takes that for other medical conditions?
Yeah.
Well, why was he taking it?
To keep his blood thin so he didn't get blood clots. He had like, I don't know, some arterial something. He had a stent put in his